Nova's starting to look like a proper car again. We've got the grille back in because Az has got the wiring done. It's all wrapped up, it's all been tested. Looks pretty neat. There's not much to see, which is what you want. It's all hidden. He's got the ECU and fuse box and everything mounted inside the glove box. That was really the only practical spot we could find for it. There's not many spots for ECUs on the 65 Nova dashes because they never had them, of course. So that's all pretty good, ready to go, we think. We've got to pull the headers and paint them. Then we can refit them finally, and then move on to the exhaust. Woody's got the job of putting the deep pan on the auto, which Cam has requested. So he's going to get onto that. Tail shaft is on the way back, so we'll fit that. Hopefully she's a good fit. And then we're just going to modify the shifter to account for the fact that we've moved the engine and transmission forward 50mm, just extend it a bit and make sure that all works. So we're heading towards startup time, which everybody loves. Let's do it.
The automatic transmission pan is being replaced with an aftermarket item. It is a lot deeper, which holds more fluid, so in return helps with cooling. The aftermarket pan comes with a new filter which is extended down lower so it sits right at the bottom of the pan. Al moves on to installing the new tail shaft, which is 50mm longer than the original.
Tail shaft's got this mint billet yoke on it. Something that we should point out to Dave, our mate. Maybe he needs a billet pinion as well, and a billet floor pan.
A new drive belt has arrived, so it's fitted up while the car is back down on the ground. I then jump into the driver's seat to assist Al in setting up the shifter. The linkage has to be modified as the engine and gearbox are sitting further forward.
Yeah.
Reverse.
Yeah.
Neutral.
Yep.
Drive.
Yep.
Low.
Cool. It's missing first, but that's not the gearbox's problem. Feels all right.
Yeah, sweet.
Cool. All right.
Do I get down now?
Nah, it's Smoko.
Can you lower the hoist down for me?
What are you doing up there?
Let me down, bro.
Cam's going to kill you when he finds out you sat in his seat. Only I was allowed to sit there and Az.
Come on, dude. Did you get my Smoko or not?
What Smoko?
Didn't you say it was Smoko?
Yeah, for me. We got the shifter all sorted. Does its thing. Feels pretty vague, but I guess that's just a 60s thing. You can also just smash it into reverse without pressing the button, which is a terrible idea. So this vehicle came out with a power glide. I have no idea why it's got a turbo 350 in it now, but it's probably been like that for 30 years, so who'd know. I guess it's a bit of a problem, but there is no one. There's only two positions on the shifter, of course, because that's all it needed with a Glide. I don't know anything about the transmission. It could be good or it could be rubbish, could blow up the first time he drives it. We'll just have to wait and see, but certainly not difficult to have a Turbo 350 rebuild if required. The diff is also another unknown. It is just an open center, small diameter 10 bolt, so nothing fancy at all. Same thing, have to see what happens. It'll probably spin one wheel or all the way around the block, so that might keep it alive for a little while, but that's another cam problem for later. The tail shaft should be good. It's got a billet yoke on it, so that'll be one thing that doesn't break. The auto pan that we've put on it, I'm not a fan of. It is massive and it just about scrapes on the ground. I don't know why they would make such a thing for a road car, but we'll see what happens with that. If it gets knocked off, we'll just put a normal one back on it. So I didn't supply the parts, so I can't do much about that. We'll see what happens. We're getting pretty close to doing an ECU config, which is always good. So Az and I will get into that shortly, try and get this thing to go. Az has to take off shortly as well, so I'm sure he's pretty keen on seeing it run before he leaves. He's got a tuning conference for Kugelfischer injection that he's got to attend, so I'm sure he'll enjoy that. That's right up his German alley. So let's get the laptop out and do something.
The Centrepoint fuel injection system is being controlled by none other than a Haltech ECU. We are using a Platinum Sport 1000, which is a predecessor to the Elite series. Dunning Kruger Az is configuring the ECU to suit the Gen 3 small block. Al is then on the timing light and checking that the ignition timing is set correctly and suits the top dead centre mark we previously made. Meanwhile, I have been given the tedious task to paint the original Gen 1 Chevy covers. They are prepped and primed and then given a coat in some 2-pack paint which we had mixed up to suit. It's important to note that I am not a spray painter, but after learning from some friends over the years, it's easy to teach yourself the skills. Dealing with chemicals such as hardeners or thinners can be detrimental, so using a breathing apparatus is always a priority. Once the paint has been mixed, it's laid down in smooth, even coats to prevent any paint runs. The paint on the headers is dry, so they are bolted up, ready to be joined to the rest of the exhaust system.
So we've got those headers back in, so we're ready to continue on with the exhaust system back to the rear of the car. The first thing I'm going to do is make an X pipe, as they call them. This is a method of pulse tuning. It has that effect. It's potentially complicated depending on what you're doing with the engine and how big your camshafts are and that sort of thing. Probably the biggest benefit of a balance pipe or an X pipe is it makes the exhaust sound better. You don't get that sort of two uneven four-cylinder engines fighting each other sound, which sounds awful, by the way. Don't do it. So a balance pipe is a pretty old traditional thing that's been around for a long time. That was basically just a tube that ran across between the two sides, and just had pretty much just joined them sort of somewhere around the rear of the gearbox. X pipe is sort of the latest thing, which is basically just two pipes like that, butted together and welded together, and normally have, I think I'll probably put about 1.25 inch hole in them. So it's not much of a like a kiss point. It's only just a small balance hole. So you drill both of them, touch them together like that. I usually give them a little beating so they're flat, and then just mig around it. You can TIG it if you want, of course. We've talked about methods of making exhausts in the Barra Bedford series in episode 8. If you want to go back and have a look at that, we won't go into it again. But basically, MIG, TIG, whatever you like. Depends on how much time you want to spend on it. Depends how much you want to pay someone else to do it. That's all it's about. It doesn't make the exhaust flow better or anything. Welding it differently, it does the same thing. It's just the way it looks and how much it costs to make it. So we're going to run that in the middle of the car, and sort of we've got to make that first so we can sort of position it in the spot at the rear of the gearbox there where it will fit, and then join the two front pipes that run out through the guards and under the car and back in towards the rear of the gearbox to this via catalytic converters, because this engine in Australia requires catalytic converters because it is a modern engine, and that's just our laws. So that's why they're there. They just have to be. So let's get into it.
Once the X-pipe has been made, it's tied into the exhaust system right behind the gearbox after the catalytic converters. Al positions a couple of exhaust mounts on each muffler, and also one at the front of the system at the gearbox crossmember. With majority of the exhaust system welded on the car, it's removed and finalised on the welding bench. It's then given a coat of paint and finished off with a couple of signatures.
So here's the finished exhaust system. It is twin 2.5 inch tubing, which is ample for this engine. You don't normally need to jump up to 3 inch tubing until you get a bit more capacity and or compression. 3 inch, twin 3 inch can potentially make an engine like this make less power and less mid-range at that, just because it's too big. So 2.5 is plenty. The mufflers are just generic Magnaflow sort of style stainless steel mufflers. They generally sound quite good on on a V8, especially paired up like this. We've made all new hangers for them, or we've actually got them off Old Cock. They're just a sort of a generic old school V8 style hanger mount that they're normally all in this sort of position. So he supplied them to us. They worked fine. The front mount is a Land Cruiser exhaust mount that I had lying around. Just adapted it to fit, just to give it support at the rear of the gearbox there. It is a strange shaped exhaust and it is quite long, so it did need plenty of support. They sort of wrap around and go out up into the wheel arch, which is unusual, I guess. Other than that, it all turned out pretty good. There's plenty of clearance. It shouldn't heat the floor up. And we didn't go over the diff. And the reason for that is money. That is an expensive part of the exhaust system because it generally requires a lot of bends and stuff like that. So I didn't go there. Didn't want to spend the money, so they just dropped in front of the diff, which generally does sound pretty tough. Also pretty noisy at the same time, but anyway, that's fine. We'll see how it goes. It can always be changed later. So we're getting real close to being able to get this bad boy going and hopefully listen to a nice Cammy V8 sound.
Google what?
Kugelfischer.
What's that?
It's fuel injection. Is your Google broken as well? Everybody seems to be broken.
Kugelfischer.
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 Do you even German?
No, I don't.
Yeah. It's a pioneering injection system.
Nine.
Pioneering injection system, as is one of the leaders in the field of tuning. He gets his keyboard cut out and tunes that Kugelfischer like a boss. Get to work.